Hey there, lads and lasses. This here, of course, is Thunderhand64 coming at you live from the west coast of the United States. Here on a Wednesday, it is a little bit past noontime. That can only mean that it's time for some Generations Minecraft server. Just adjusting my volumes here. I am just adjusting my volume. There we go. That's a little bit better. So, what do we have planned for today? Well, let me see. If it's Generations, last Wednesday we were working in the Generation 5 Survival World, so that means today it is time for some BZR. Adjust your volume. Yeah, I was doing that. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. So let me see. My voice should be redlining, or just about. It should be in the amber region, which is right where I want it. And then the music should be back there a little bit more. And of course, I'd like to welcome in number one son, Biggity Cheese. Hey there, Biggie. How you doing up there, buddy? So let me see. In Generations today, Baby Zombie Rush, right? We've got some cool stuff. We always have cool stuff for Baby Zombie Rush, but let us do this. Let me log on. I'll switch the scene once we're logged in. Good. Going to take 280 tests soon. Oh, that's right. So my eldest son there is in the electrical engineering program up at his university. And yeah, good luck on your exam today, son. I think this is going to be a little easier than your last one, but still. Let me log on in here. All right, I think we could switch over. Here we are. Where do we leave off? Well, I always like to go over to the progress board to start these streams, just because we only do this every other week. So I like to catch everybody up to speed where we're at. So we built the entrance to the game right over here. Secret door. So we made a secret door in the maze at some point where the player gets to a dead end. They try the button for better or worse. In this case, it might be for the better. It opens up a space on the wall and allows them through to a different part of the maze. Of course, it's open long enough for if there are any baby zombies hot on their heels, they'll come through as well. But yeah, for the most part, that's what that does. So that has been installed. Arrow dispensing detrimental. So we come to another dead end somewhere in the maze. The player takes their chances, presses the button. This time it's not so beneficial. Partition of the wall opens up and dispensers shoot out arrows at the player. And they are arrows of harming with harming potion on them. So it hurts the player, but it helps the baby zombies, right? And so, yeah, quite detrimental. Then arrow dispensing beneficial. We have another such dead end in here, except the arrows now are arrows of healing, which are better for the player and not so good at all for the baby zombies, right? Baby zombie spawner at the entrance. So when the game begins, the player enters the maze first, but then the horde of baby zombies needs to pursue the player into the maze, and so we needed some sort of spawning to happen for that. So we set it up with command blocks and whatnot. So when the host is ready to go, the player is ready to go, player proceeds in, and then followed by a horde of baby zombies. So we did get that working. Dead end baby zombie spawner. Okay, so again, somewhere in the maze, the player gets to a dead end, takes their chances, hits the button, and a partitional wall opens up, and out pours bloodthirsty baby zombies. TNT drop trap. So that got put into place. So the player again gets to a certain point in the map here, and in the maze, gets to a dead end, tries their luck with a button. The floor opens up beneath them. They fall into a pit, and TNT is dispensed and blows them to Kingdom Come. Similarly, with the lava drop trap, the floor opens and they fall into a pool of lava. So we have that. What we are working on now, and what we'll likely finish up today, is a dead end trap. That isn't really a trap per se. It's sort of like it's quite similar to the as far as it's benign, is what I'm trying to say, where it's may or may not be beneficial or detrimental. It's kind of neutral. It's over here. Here we go. Okay, so the player gets to a dead end. They take their chance with a button. The floor opens up. They drop through and into this darkened tunnel. So the player will drop down through the floor into the tunnel. Maybe baby zombies will fall in there with them. Maybe not, right? So could be beneficial, could be detrimental. The player comes on down to here. Right? Very difficult to see. The path will lead the player down through here. There may be some things here like food and stuff for the player. But again, the player will probably be pursued by maybe at least a few baby zombies. Maybe none at all. So they'll come on through the tunnel. The tunnel will all be enclosed like back there. Right. Then when the player gets to this point, can they make it up through here? I think Sage and I worked on a better way for them to be ejected up through here. And we were trying to get this height adjusted just right. There it is. There. And so I may have to put maybe one more set of dispensers in there, I think, because that was a little too hard to do. And so I want them to come up over here and be deposited down onto here, and then this close behind them. But we had it a little too powerful the last time, and it brought them up over the top of the wall, which we did not want. You are so mean. No, I'm not. I put nice things in here too. In fact, Lone, a lot of these things I put in and then I changed my mind. And it's like, Thunder, you have to give the contestant a chance. They need some sort of chance. You're too hard. Dial that back a little bit. Make it a little easier, right? So I've had to do that several times. Is this milk? I think it is. Yes. Okay. So so where are we at now? We are. I think I removed them and I got them just right, but I don't know. I try it now and now it's a little bit different. Yeah, see, it doesn't quite let me get the player up where I want them to be. I just need them to go a little bit higher. Am I in creative right now? Yeah, I am. All right, let's get out of creative. Let's do that and survival. Let's come on over to here. Let's eat something too. The other thing is the player's health may be very, very low when they drop in there. So that's another thing we have to think about. That's why I may have food deposited along the way. Yeah, see, it's hard to see around here. It really is. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's because I was in creative mode. Yeah, see, no, that's really good. In fact, that's almost, again, it's almost a little too good. I don't want them to be able to get up onto the wall. There you go. See, you can possibly do that. And so... Oh, but I got a plan for that. I got a plan for that. One of the things we might do... What if we just extended these blocks out with pistons? So when the trap door opens, these extend out. Either something like this, or like this. This might give them... See, if these aren't placed just right, though... Yeah, that might work. Where am I? What happened? Oh yeah, sometimes they get launched back up onto this. Yeah, see, that's pretty good. Yeah, so maybe we'll have some pistons. Do something like this, right? Where... We'll have something like this. The only thing I don't like about that is that's kind of obvious from here, right? What I would like, honestly, is to have it like that and then have them extend out to there and maybe a double extension. We could do something like that. So when they're in their parked position, they're like that, and you don't really see anything. The thing is, I think that's going to be too low, though. I'm heading out to class now. Have a good stream. Thank you so much, son. I always love it when you stop in the stream, dude. Yeah, see, that works pretty good. That works good. And it's not too high up there. Out. Please. That's my son right there. Going to take his EE exam. I'm so proud of that guy. Let's see. Forget where I am. Isn't it? Yeah, it's over here somewhere. Good. So I think you guys can see that here are the activation plates that will open the doors and activate those pistons, right? There you go. And then after they get through here, this should close back up. So I will probably put this on a clock and just have it run for a certain amount of time. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll have it, and then it'll retract these back in. And so we'll need, for this, we're going to need some sort of double piston extender. Let me see, this will extend this out to here. This will extend. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not. If we did something like this, I shouldn't be working on this. I need to, this part of it right now. If I was going to work more sequentially, I'd be working on the tunnel right now. Right? We do something like that, and then, yeah, no, that does it. That'll reach. There it is. Now, if that's retracted that way, see, well, no, that will push first. Good. But then this needs power to push that secondarily, like this. And then it'll need to retract here. And then retract there, but it needs to pull this block with it, and it might not be able to pull. Because I think while pistons can push multiple blocks like that, I don't think that they can pull them. But we'll have to work something out. We'll have to see what... Yeah, maybe we'll just need an extra step, right? So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. So, yeah, these double piston extenders are tricky things. So I'll have to work these things off to the side because honestly, I haven't built too many of these. So that's, we'll have to go out there into the test area and perfect this and get this down. But it will be something like this. And the very cool thing about this is when it's parked, you don't notice it at all. And that's always an important feature of the Baby Zombie Rush maze, right? Is when you get back to here, you don't notice it, right? It just looks like any other part of the maze. The one thing, though, about this is that there's no button, right? So after the player gets ejected out of here and they go on and this all closes up and it looks normal again, if the player comes around at this from this end again and they just happen to be in the maze, they'll see a dead end without a button. And so I may also have to put some other kind of feature in this dead end. And it's probably something small. Maybe it spits out a carrot, a golden carrot, or something silly like that, right? Just so it's disguised properly, because then you'll notice, hey, you know, one dead end doesn't have a button. Maybe, but you know, you have to think about those kinds of things when you're designing games, because the people who are going to be contestants for this game are very, very smart people. Yeah, they are. And so you never want to give people like that the benefit of the doubt, because they'll take it every time. All right. So, Lone Star, like you were mentioning earlier, we were talking about, don't make the game too hard. Don't be too mean. Don't make it too hard. You also got to not make it too easy, right? And so you got to think about things like that and try to balance them out and say, should I leave this like this or not? It's one of those things. And you're never really going to know until you run it, right? So, all right, let's get down there. Let's finish up the tunnel. And I laid out the path for this tunnel, and this is fine. If we're going to do this, let's take the potion of night vision so you guys can see what I'm working on down here a little bit better. No. Yes. Like this. And I guess I could use the fill command for this. I don't know. I think this is fast enough. I just have to be conscious about how much space. Like, this is getting quite close to that redstone. And eventually it's going to be that tall. It's going to, yeah, right on the very bottom of this. It doesn't seem to be a problem, but I mean, if it's that big of a deal, I can always move it out a little bit more and avoid all of this redstone altogether. But I think we're okay. By the way, even though I mentioned him, the Mighty Lone Star, everybody, fellow buffoon. Please go check him out when you get the chance. You guys should see the auto shout out up there somewhere. Yeah, it was back there. There it is. By the way, if Kachi does decide to stream this Sunday, I'm hoping he's going to show... Well, I'm hoping he's going to want to stream because he just didn't want to stream last Sunday. I'm hoping he's going to want to stream this Sunday because the stuff on which he is working right now is extra cool. And I really want him to share that with you guys because I think you'll be very impressed with it. Not so much being impressed. Of course, I'm proud of him and stuff, but it's just really cool, the stuff he's working on. Now, I'm going to let this potion run its course, and when it does, then I'm going to come in here and put in the little bits of blackstone. For example, you guys saw where I put in little bits of blackstone here. This is absolutely necessary. You cannot navigate this at all without the blackstone. You just can't. And whilst being pursued by baby zombies, no, definitely not. Again, there may not be any baby zombies, but now one of the things I was talking about is putting in some features along this tunnel, and they're just jokes and gags and funny stuff, right? I might do that, like, you know, with some glass, and behind the glass there's a little scene there or something with I'm trying to avoid armor stands as much as I love the armor stand mod. I just find, with updates and stuff like that, you put so much work into the armor stands, and then one update comes along and breaks it, and the amount of work that has to be done to reset all of that stuff, it's often not worth it. So if you're wondering why I don't use armor stands so much in Generations here, that's why. I love it so much, but I find it just a little too unstable for some things. I do tend to use them in Buffooncraft, though. Just not a lot, though. I'll just use an armor stand here or there. But I won't use it in a game, in like a mini game, something like this, or an event. Because, again, just one update comes along and breaks it, and then it's so much work to reset it. So, not worth it. Not worth it, in my opinion. But that being said, I definitely want to do some sort of scenery or something. Especially that's why I didn't make the tunnel wind so much. I have these long straight passages in it. Number one, because I think it would just be too hard. Again, you got to give them a chance, Thunder. You can't make it too hard. But the other thing is I want the opportunity to put some features in there and stuff. If the player's being pursued by baby zombies, they're probably not going to have time to stop and smell the roses. They're not going to be able to do that. But if they do manage to find themselves down here and they're not in pursuit, which is entirely possible, it would be cool for them to have something to look at down here through this passage. And it's also just cool for the viewers, too, looking at things from the contestant's point of view, right? Usually I don't do things like I'm about to mention, but I may do so in this kind of a case, where I may list on the walls viewers' names and stuff like that for people who have donated and subs and bits. Usually I don't like to do that too much, only because there are people who can't do that, and they always feel a bit off about that sometimes. But I'm thinking more like just viewer engagement kind of stuff. I'm thinking more that way because you guys know I don't run the stream for monetary purposes. that should be very, very obvious. But soon I might have to try to do a little bit of something like that because there are two things I want to do. I do want to stream charity. I do want to do that. And also, yeah, I think I'm going to have to do this with the lights on, so to say, and then try it with the lights off. And also, I will need to actually raise some funds pretty soon. Not much, but maybe for like a new PC or something, because PC 1 is getting to the point where it's quite outdated, and we're going to need a new one pretty soon. And so I might actually try to use stream revenue for that, which in my case is probably insane because I don't have any stream revenue. But I might do something like a fundraising marathon or something like that. And I might try to do two birds with one stone, where I do something like, raise funds for the stream, but at the same time, and like split the proceeds 50-50, where half goes to charity and half goes to the other charity, which is our stream. I might do something like that. Now, when I'm laying these out, the most important one to have is this one that's viewable just around the corner, because it gives the player the hint that, oh, okay, there's a right turn there, without like really spelling it out. So yeah, for our monetary goals for the stream, usually we only set out to make enough to pay for the server each year. And that's all. We don't really have to do that. The server cost is really down, but it's just a nice thing to do. It's a satisfying thing to do, to use the stream revenue to pay for the server. And we've been successful with that for like 5 years now. So you guys have been really awesome with that. And we get just enough to cover that, which is fine. But I may... may do some fundraising for a PC upgrade, or just replacement, because there's really no sense in upgrading PC 1. The tech in it's just too old now. And of course, as far as PCs are concerned, we would only be doing like just the basic PC that we need to run the stream. We really don't need it to be that robust. PC 1 has to be a bit of a hefty boy, so replacing that. Again, I can save a lot of money on that, because I'm a pretty good PC builder myself, and where I fall short, I have friends who do not. Friends who actually do that stuff, like PC and Coffee, for example. And so occasionally, you know, if I reach my limit with that stuff, I give him a call. He can also help me save a lot of money on things. So that's coming up. I just don't know when I'm going to go about doing that, but I'm thinking this year, 2025, I should probably replace PC 1. All right, I think we're good here. I should be able to access the tunnel right through here, like this. Now notice I didn't put any blocks leading up to this, because I wanted that to be purposely disorientating. But again, like when you're coming down into this stretch and it's dark, it's really important to have that block right there, because and no other block like right here, because that shows you, right, that there's a turn there. Like that. Some of these stretches, I think I may have put too many blocks. Like some of these longer stretches, I can space these things out quite a bit more. Like that. Like this, there are probably way too many in this one. Yeah, see, I don't mind having a little bit more in these spaces here. But like, yeah, there's too many in this one. Yeah, see, this should come out and be placed right about there. So this comes out like here, and then we go through here like this. And see, that cues you in a little bit. Let's move that back a little more. This comes on through here like this. Through there. There we go. This is probably a little too much in here. We can do that. And then get rid of those. Something like that. I feel that's a little better. And then again, that's the critical one right there. And then we can turn around into this. I think this is a little superfluous like that. We could do that. And then we'll have just one more right before the edge and then this. I like that. Okay, so let's head on back here. We'll dispel the effects of our night vision potion, and then we'll see this in the deck. Oh, did I just turn myself around? I think I did, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I just looked away at the monitor for just a sec, and then I turned back, and I'm already disorientated, and I can see everything, and I'm still disorientated. That's a good sign. That is a good sign. Yeah, see, I came back to the entrance again, like this. Like this. Okay, yeah, we're in the dark. This is good. You guys can probably just barely see this. See how hard that is to see? But you can see it. Now imagine fleeing from baby zombies and you're trying to do this. Okay, see that shows you that there's a turn there. Okay, and that leads to the wind bursts. So going back should be this direction. All right, so there's a turn here that isn't... Well, yeah, because we're not coming from that direction, right? So going back is tough. And that's good. I want to discourage going back if I can. Because there's no way out going back, right? So... Okay, here are the stairs. All right, yeah, so the floor would open up. The player would drop down through here and then proceed down this way. Now, like I said, when it comes time to putting features in the tunnel down here, I think I'm going to do that a little bit later on. I think I'm going to get the tunnel working. Yeah, I think I'm going to get the tunnel working. Although, we should make a food drop feature in here. We should make a food drop feature in there. Yeah, I'm thinking that. So as the player's running through, some food will drop down in front of them. Yeah, we should do that. Okay, I'm liking the way that tunnel looks as far as the difficulty of getting through it. I like that. Now we need to make at least this door here open and close. We have the redstone in place for it already. Pretty much. Pretty much. Let's knock a hole in here for right now. And we'll do something like this. Now, have I disabled that? And let's do some... I don't think I have. Okay. Let's do this. It should close again, though, afterwards. So it looks like it's in an opposite state. Right? And so... And I think it's because these aren't picking up and dropping off. They're just... Yeah, so this looks like it's broken a little bit, actually. Let's just open this up. Yeah, we got to figure out what's going on with this. Because this should push in and then those should push up, and it's not. And so the timing's a little bit off. Yeah, this should push in and those should push up. And then it should retract. And then it should push in, it should grab these, pull them down, and retract. And it is not doing that. And it could be because of a pressure plate. It might be pressure plate mechanics versus button mechanics. Do I need a T flip-flop or not? Let's see what happens to the rails down here when we're on it. Yeah, we are getting a sort of not sort of, but we are getting a double pulse there. What we can do for that... Oh, I know what to do for that, which is better. Yeah, let's do this. Let's take out the rail system. I think I know what to do here. We'll see. We'll see. I think I know what to do. We can do this. We won't need the observers, which is more than a little handy. I think we can do this in a better fashion. If we do something like this, we can do what, pressure plate? Like that. Then, if I'm not mistaken, we might be able to do something like this. And then something like that. That might do it. Like all right, but okay, close. We're close. We are close. I needed to drop it off though. Yeah, so if we're dropping it off, we probably do need the observer. Let's see. Observer needs to be facing up. Hup, as the Frenchmen say. Like that. That needs to be on there like that. Now, how's the best way to do this and get the spacing right? We could... this will extend it out to here, but we need to bring it out by about maybe one more block. So if we're going to do that, we could use a target block there, maybe. And of course, back in the day, we'd use a note block for this, right? That should redirect it downward and then give us a sticky piston this way. Like that, with an observer there. That should be fast enough to drop that observer off now. There it is. And then when you step on the plate again, it'll retract it. And that should give us the kind of action we want. Now we just need to take care of this, but that's not a problem. Let me see, this won't turn corners, but that should be enough, actually. There it is. All right, getting the timing on this is going to be tricky. So let's do this. Let's just remove the tunnel top here, just so we can see things working or not working. I thought we had this down the last time when we installed it. Let's do this. And let's see what's happening. All right, I think this pulse is also a little too fast. So we're getting a little bit of a delay between the top and the bottom if I use this kind of a method. And I think the timing of this is off. These have to be synced just right, so the motion of this sends the pulse upwards and activates that. So actually, this has to trigger first, and then that has to come out beneath it. And I don't think we're getting that kind of timing. Huh. Yeah, it looks like the bottom's activating before the top, and that we cannot have, people. But that's pretty easy to take care of, actually. That's just a repeater. To put a little bit of delay on that bottom one. Of course, up at the top here, yeah, up at the top we have 2 repeaters, and down at the bottom we only have 1 comparator, and so that's why the bottom's firing first. right. So we have the order a little bit backwards here. So the top one needs to fire first, and then the idea of the bottom one firing after is when this observer is here and it moves to there, it experiences a block update and sends the pulse upwards, and that's what retracts that, returns that to the top. Did I build this right? I don't think I built this right. Because it's essentially the same setup as this one over here. This is pretty much what it does. So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. All of this stuff is correct, but this bus might need to come over a little bit more. And let's get the action of this down correctly. See, if this is over here, and then I do, let me see, it needs to read. It needs to read this way. There, see? This is already in place, and when this slides into place, then it will activate and drop the block off. And that's what we need to have happen. And so we have the timing is off for this. So its default state needs to be here, like this. That's where it needs to end. It needs to start like this and end like that. And let me see, when we go... Yeah, now this is still out. Right? Yeah, okay. Now, when this activates for the first time, it's going to need to grab this and pull it down. That would be this, retracting first. Oh, you know what? Yeah, because we don't have the return circuit yet. That's why. Yeah, so this is only the activation circuit. So activating this has to fire first. Because... Excuse me. This has to activate first. Yeah, okay. So we need to be in that state. And then sometimes these blocks stay on, so we need a button. So we can return them. There we go. Okay, so as a temporary reset, right? So there. I mean, I have nothing against the black stone, but the stone button stands out a little bit better and has the timing I want, so... The thing I don't like about a pressure plate is the player can keep running over it and activate, reactivate, deactivate, activate, deactivate, activate, and it can mess up the timing of the redstone. So again, this needs to be on a clock before it closes again. And it needs to be kind of disabled again before it resets. So, in other words, the player runs across the pressure plate once. And this opens. But if they run across it again afterwards, nothing will happen until this closes, and then it will reactivate that. it'll enable that once more. Re-enable? Yeah, you could say that. So we need that kind of a thing. So yeah, that's going to be tricky to do. Because think about it, you know what's going to happen, right? A player's going to come around the corner here, step on this, right? And then they're going to be like springing up and down. They may land on this landing again, or they may come through here and like, oh, the baby zombie is, and then get jumbled around and come back and through here again and jumble, you know, and they may go over that pressure plate several times. So we need this to activate and then to be disabled. I think I might know of a way to do that. When this opens, it could send a signal back through here. That pulls the observer back. And then that way, if the player is like going back and forth over here, this has no observer to push forward to activate this. You could do something like that. The other thing you could do is take out the piece of rail here. Like this. Where is level? See, you could move that over there. That way, when you're doing this, right, you could jump on this plate, jump off of it. Nothing's going to happen until this closes. And then that reactivates. And like this, right? And drops that off. And then when this goes, it can open the door again, right? So you could have something like that. So its default state would be like this, right? I think I like that way better because it's on the outside of this and it gives a little bit more room. So step one, does this work for step one? Okay, but that's not step one, actually. Step one is like this. Uh-oh. Yeah, so for step one, the timing is backwards again, right? So for step one, this has to fire first, and then this. This needs to be moved into place. Then that needs to be moved to activate this to pull those down. So my timing is backwards on this. My timing is a bit off. Yeah, now we have this duplicated on the other side, so I don't mind breaking this, but let me think. So yeah, we may have to move the circuit over a little bit. And again, I could move the circuit up closer to the wall here and make a little bit more room here. But let's get this working first. All right. All we really need is a repeater so we can adjust the delay there. Right? And so let's take that out. All right, and we will use comparators here and here. And then we'll come over here. We'll make our T flip-flop. Please. Please. Right there. With our reset button. Like that. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now again, we're going to have to move our bus over a little bit, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Bus will have to come out to here now. Then you'll get observer and observer like this. Let me see. So we'll move this over. We'll have this activated here. When this comes up to here, I'll activate this, activate those first. Okay, and then we just had this coming off. In the opposite direction, which, yeah, I guess is pretty efficient, right? I mean, because you're using the T flip-flop twice, right? And then you're just using that kind of distribution to bring the circuit up and around. And then you could do that kind of thing to insulate the T flip-flop. Then you could just use some good old redstone dust. Right here and here. All right, now my concern, though, is that this moves a little too far forward. So what we could do instead, let's see if there's enough room to do this. There might be. Can I, let me see. Well, I do have to have the comparator come off of this. Come on, brain. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Could I put a target block here? See, I want to power this one, because if I power this one, then that one gets powered through this one, because it's Java. I'm actually past halfway point of the stream, so I should be taking my break right now. But I'm kind of into this. But I do need to take my break. So I'll tell you what. Let's run a 3-minute ad break, and then I'll be right back. We'll go into standing mode, and then we'll finish this up. Hey there, and we're back. As you could probably hear, I'm choking on Gatorade again. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I can't drink Gatorade anymore. Whenever I take a sip of it, I always choke on it now. And I think it's because it's almost too easy to drink. And so it goes down the wrong pipe. It's just too quick. Yeah, it goes down the wrong pipe and then I choke. Let's see. Get this set up a little bit right here. I think that's good enough right there. All right, let's see if we can get this redstone straight and get the timing on it down and get this so it'll work right. And you know what? I was holding off moving the circuit. Let's not do that. Let's just... Rails. Yeah, I think this is still the way to go. Making steps with the rails. I think that's still the way to do it. Let's remove that. And you know what? I keep forgetting the spec on this. But I think rails can conduct a redstone signal for 9 rails. I think 9 blocks. Like this, and then if I... Yeah, and then if we put a 10th one in... Yeah, okay, so it's 9. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let me think. Let's do this. We'll do something like that. Let's take a swig of the good stuff. Cilantro. There we go. Excuse me again. Let's see. Yep, like that. This is further out now. That would go over to there. This needs to go further back. This needs to come out a little bit more. And I think I just put an extra observer right there to extend the signal. I think I did that. All right. Can I get away with putting it here? I forget. Please, please, hands. All right, I think if I do something like this and then... Yeah, it still works. Okay. We do this. We could extend the rail that way. Like that. And let me think. I think it's best if I do that. Because then we can take the piston this. We can do this, and then we can just grab this rail and pull it over, right, when we're finished. On the timer, and then it can put the rail back afterwards, right? But now this is going to be a little bit longer than it was before. I mean, we have the room down. I'm trying to think of compacting this circuit as much as possible, but it's not really necessary. We have the room down here with which we can work. So yeah, I was just trying to figure out a way that we could double read this a little bit more easily, but I think we're already there, like this. So let me see. Comparator will give it 1. That would be 4. So this would be 5 to reach over there. And this, at the very least, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the repeater makes it 6. Dang! So, just saying, if I activate this, it may be just enough. The timing is a little bit off, isn't it? It's not shutting off afterwards, though, which is a disturbing sign. That should not be happening. And I would hate to think that a redstone signal is going through this glass and powering these bulbs. That should not be the case. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm doing something stupid here. Yeah, you notice how I had this array where these are completely separate and I'm not using the same bulb off of this. And there I'm trying to be more compact. I think I need to separate these. Yeah, these need to be separate circuits. Separate buses. And I'm trying to be clever and use the same bus. Yeah, not cool. Not cool. It's also going to cause problems when I put the return circuit in place. Yeah. Okay, let me think. I just have a bus of observers going right across there with the target blocks into that. Because this essentially runs in the same way. All right. All right. Well, let's try this. And in fact, this will actually save me a little bit of time. Because, oh, cans, please. I'm just let me do it, please. All right? I'm just trying to do this. Right? Yeah. These are looking at that up into there and activating those. Got it. See? That's all. That's all. I'm not asking for much here. There. Okay, so this we need to come out to here and here like that. Then I need some comparators right here, like this. Comparators need to come off of here. Are those comparators or repeaters? Them's the repeaters, kids. And it looks like they're set for 2 ticks. Or 3 ticks, actually. 3 ticks. Yeah. And then let's put in the target blocks. Big fan of target blocks. We now had this running here. We can actually bring all of this back again. Oh, yeah, relax. It's going to be fine. We can do that and that. Okay, and I think that's the first part of the circuit like that. And because I can set a delay on this, we can trigger the top part and then the bottom. And I think that's how I was doing it here. And then these being separate circuits allows me to then trigger the bottom part and then the top. I think that's what I'm trying to do. Right, so let me see. We have a observer bus there with pistons, and then we have the T flip-flop up there. Okay. So the next thing that needs to happen is these need to be run this this away. Like that. Great. And then these ones are going to run off of the T flip-flop. Right there. Substrate, comparator, copper bulb, this on that bus right there. So no, they need to be reading the copper bulb. There we go. Somewhat like that, with our reset buttons on the sides. I think I was thinking I could make that more compact, and no, it needs to operate in pretty much the same way. Because we need separate buses we need separate circuits. Yeah, like this. All right, so I'm just wondering. I think I can make this a little bit more compact, but you know what? Let's just run it. Let's just brute force it, and then we'll think about that afterwards. Because as I've said, we're not really hurting for space, but you just get. It's good to be in the habit of building efficiently like this. There we go. That way you can have the signal coming in now, hitting this, then this. And then you can have the clock with the return circuit over here coming back, and now I can change the order because I have two different circuits now. That is what needs to happen. And let me see, default state should be the same. No, actually it's not. Default state is actually there. And you know what? I think that's what was messing me up before. This is the default state. These fire first. It gives that up there, pulls it down, and then comes back. So maybe I had it right. But I don't think this will work with a return circuit. Because I don't think I can separate these out sufficiently to then make them fire in reverse. And I think that's what the deal is. Yeah, so I think I need this set up anyway, which is why I built this over there. Yeah. Now here we have this triggering from above. Over here. And so it comes around with this bus. So now we'll be triggering this from below. Yeah, and here's what triggers the second bus over here. The second circuit over here to fire that way. And then there's the big delay that comes over to here now. Fires this and then fires through again. That's so clever. Thank you, Brain, for doing that the last time. Well done. This is a much smaller circuit. So, oh, please, with the hands, come on. Right. So we're moving the bus back over again. Yeah. I keep saying bus, but it's not necessarily a bus. A bus takes multiple channels and combines them into one. So if you think about it like students in a bus, right? It takes a bunch of people from different sources, puts them all in one, and brings them all to one place, right? Yeah, that's not what's happening here, right? These are lines, channels, circuits, right? Signals. Yeah, so I think that's the way that this is happening. So from here and then split it off up to here maybe? So you can think of it as the signals coming up through here, but instead of one signal coming up through there, we're going to get the activator down here and it's going to split side to side at the same rate. So you could think of it like coming right up to here maybe from the floor and then, or right into this target block is where it should go. Oh yeah, that faces down there and brings it up over. I like this guy's work. All right. Enough tooting my own horn here. So I think what I was doing was something like this. Right, so that will come over and then from here, it does something like this. Coming out of there. And then this will go into that and it will split it two different ways, right? And I think what I was doing here, this is cool. I think I was doing something like that. And then I was bringing this over to here. Yeah, this guy knows what he's about. Yeah. Because then when I turn this around, I can then use repeaters there for, or actually, I'm probably going to have to bring the repeaters around here if I want to make a repeater delay for that. I don't think I will, though, because I think I want this to stay out longer, so I'll probably wrap it around here, and in the back, I'll have like an Etho hopper clock here doing that kind of a thing. Because I think I want it to stay open a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not going to work. Please. Please. There, like that. I don't like this staying on, though. But it did its thing anyway. Okay, whatever. Yeah, these should be in the off state. Like that. Okay. Yeah, and the cool thing about this is this front part of the circuit here will activate all of these and all of these. And then we have a back part that can come around and activate them again in reverse on the back side of it. And that was the idea I was trying to do. I remember that. And that's cool because this system now makes this line a little bit shorter. We may not need that extra observer now down at the bottom. We can do that. Now I don't know if that counts in the count of these or not, but I'm going to assume it does. So yeah, we might need an extra boost here, especially wrapping around here. Let's see where it reaches and where it doesn't reach. Yeah, we may need that boosting. And let me see, are we back to this again where this is now short enough? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Because if I wanted to do this, a different way. I could take up some space. Okay. That's why. Scene! So how much of the stream went by with me explaining all of that to you guys with the cam mode being on? Huge, huge amounts of time. Viewership is very important. if not just for that. All right, so we're doing this. Let's see. Now, see, this won't be a problem because this will be like under the black concrete. Thank you, Lone Star. Thank you. So it'll be that kind of situation. So you won't see any of that anyway, right? It should move that out there, and it should drop that off. Yeah, it should definitely drop that off. But see, that's going to be a little bit too long, I'm thinking. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Let's try it out. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to go with that target block method. Now this is actually a little too close. That's okay though. We can fix it. Hum. Oh, you know what we might be able to do? Not sure, as I was in a pub match. Oh no, not a pub match, a PUBG match. As in the game. Okay, will that see that through? No, I don't think it will. What it would need to do is, you know, I could do observers down through this. Like I could put a block here, have an observer there. Yeah, I could do that, right? For example, the Mr. Pressure Plate. Oh, really? Did it? It's supposed to put it in the empty slot. We could do something like this. Now we could have anything under here, really. Blob of redstone will do. If I have somewhere right there. There we go. Maybe like this. Right, and then observer here. Or actually, you know, well, I want this to drop off the block. That's the idea. Drop off the block here. This goes here with the piston here and that there. It might have enough room. It might have enough room to do that. Let's try it out. Okay. You need to observe that. You need to put that there. Yeah, it'll do it. Nice. It just seems kind of superfluous to... Yeah, this is kind of stupid. Not gonna lie. um, I don't know where my brain's at right now, but it's certainly not here. Let's do that. See, I could do that, but that won't drop the block off. This won't read that as a signal. Can I do this kind of thing? This is kind of jank, but that hasn't since when has that stopped us? What if I went like that? It really just has to observe that, right? Last night flying changed the server message to read, Lone asks that you set your status. Yes, Lone Star, we have all noticed that. Yeah. You know what? I'm building this backwards. And that's the deal. I'm building it backwards when I should not be building it backwards. Okay, so I want it to drop off the observer there. Right? And so then I need the piston to be here, like this. The thing is, I wish the observer could just see this. But it can't. Now, I can put a block there that it will see. Like I could put a note block there, which I don't want to do. I could put a lamp there, which I don't want to do. I could do, this is kind of jank, but again, when has that stopped us before? You know, I could do that. It's a little embarrassing, but it's not bad. It's not too bad. It is bad, but it's not too bad. Oh, I forgot you can't quasi-connect those like that. So we use a target block, right? Yeah, this isn't enough of a pulse. Maybe a target block is, though. Is it? Does it drop the block off? No, I need the observer to be directly directly activating the piston. Which means the only way that that can happen is one or two ways. Either this is downward pointing up, or it's forward pointing back. I think there's no way around it. I think I'm going to have to put some sort of detected block so I can do this. That's what needs to happen. But unfortunately, the observer won't see this being charged with a redstone signal, which means I have to switch out that block. If I did something like this, if I did something like that, and then cilantro. If I did something like that, and then I put this over it like this. Oh, target block won't do it. If I did something like this, where I had like that. But see, it covers the light pretty good though. But again, you know, to drop off the block with a single pulse, we need a T flip-flop. I need a T flip-flop anyway. Just so this won't double fire. So that, again, is this kind of a thing. Where, yeah, it'll just send a single pulse through. And it should send it fast enough to drop off the block. That's what I needed to do. And you need a T flip-flop to do that. So that might actually solve some problems, though. For example, all right, I'm getting a little tired of this. What I usually do is off to the side, blocks that I need to select, I'll just keep these blocks right here because the selection process is a little bit quicker. Like, how many times have I typed in pressure now for pressure plate? You know, you just keep one nearby and then you just whip around and select it. Like, yeah, just keep one right here. That way when you need it again, right? We do that. Okay, observer feeds into the copper bulb, which means the copper bulb can be down here. That's good. But then you need the comparator coming out of the copper bulb. Like that. There it is. And then you need the piston. Now, let's see. The piston needs to be there. So I'm thinking target block here. I think that should do it, right? Pulls it out. No. But that may be a good thing. This may actually be a good thing. Because otherwise I would have to do something like... something like that, I'm thinking, right? But see, now you've just circumvented it and put the double action back, which is silly. Yeah, you'd have to have it doing something like that. Yeah, it'd be really nuts. I think we can just have it do that kind of a thing. That's the parked position. You go over it, and with the target block like this, it just, yeah, and then it retracts it. I think that's good enough. And then this would be over here to remove the rail. Like that. And I think that will do it. This will have to be back one more block, like that. So when this opens, the signal will come back around and pull that away. That way, if the player is continually stepping across the plate here, it won't be opening and closing and opening and closing that. So yeah, I think it'll have to do that. Yeah, I think that's what's going to need to happen there. And now it's just a matter of getting this to see if that'll distribute correctly now. This may be too many blocks, and it may not be reaching the signal up there. Yeah, it's not. Right, so we're going to need a booster here somewhere. Let me see. And what am I running for time here? I got 5 more minutes of the stream. Sun. This one should at least be running. Yeah, unless it's counting this as a block, right? This should be reaching. This should be reading and sending it up through there. Huh. One thing we can do for right now is just to do this. So I can test it. And maybe I can put some redstone lamps up there, or maybe just even some copper bulbs just so I can see it working or not working. Yeah, it's not. So that is much too... let's see if that's enough of a signal coming out of that target block. So it's not even making it out of the target block. But I don't, you know what? I don't think I need repeaters out of the target block to make the rails fire to conduct a signal through the... Yeah, see, I don't, because I don't have it here. So it's just at some point, along the way here, I need an observer as a booster. And I thought here was enough, but evidently it's not. What happens? Will this see this one? I don't think it will. No, it doesn't see that. It's too low. Where to put this? I mean, I could put it in the middle somewhere, but I have a feeling that that is the best place for that. Why this didn't activate the door is beyond me. Oh, that's why. It's actually a good thing that it didn't activate the door. I'm thinking that. Is that too much? No, it works. Okay. Yay! We got it. Yeah. That's fine. That is fine, 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 fine. And now, take that, we do that. Then we come over here like this. Okay, good. Well, that's in its off state, right? Like this. Yeah. Okay. Now we just need to bring the bus around over to here. I don't know why this isn't firing though. This may be too long for that to read. Let's see what's going on or not going on with that. And then we'll have to wrap up the stream. Okay, these are not firing because these are backwards. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those were backwards. All right, so a default state is like that with those up into place. Good. See if we can get the timing. Yeah, the timing isn't right. Okay, again, what is and isn't happening here? Like that and like this. Okay, and again, let me see, what needs to happen first? These need to fire in first to grab those, and then these need to fire in second to grab those. And these did not retract. Why did you not retract? That's not a good thing. Okay, so we are like that. This is a little bit too quick, I'm thinking. Let's bring these back to 1 tick and let's see what happens. Yeah, this is where we need the delay. And these are not retracting back either. All right, well, we're out of time for the stream, so I'm going to have to troubleshoot this and see what I have going on. All right, let's see. Let's see if there's anyone to whom we can raid out, and then I have to run and go fetch Kachi. Let's see. Oh well, Skip is streaming. Seems to be streaming Buffooncraft right now. And I haven't seen Skip on Buffooncraft too often lately, so he's on there. That's a really cool thing. I'm very pleased. Very well. There is the raid message in the chat. You may let's log off of this server and then we can go to the cam scene. There we go. There we go. There we go. Cam scene. There we are. Okay. You guys can see, friends, you can see the raid message up there in the chat. You can copy and paste that into the chat if you would like to join us on this raid. Let's set up the raid itself. I think I typed that correctly. There it is. Okay, so we will be raiding out to Skipjack81, fellow buffoon, streaming Buffooncraft right now, Minecraft Buffooncraft. Family-friendly viewers, just be reminded that Skip's stream is intended for mature audiences. There's a little language and shenanigans in there, but he's a super, super cool dude. We have a lot of shared community. Chances are you'll see people in there that you know and stuff. But just giving you a heads up before we get in there. And while we are counting down for the raid, I would just like to remind everybody that we do this Generation stream every Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our next stream will be Friday, actually, from 11 a.m. to 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. And that will be Buffooncraft SMP. And I got some cool stuff to show you on Buffooncraft as usual. And the Sunday after that, hopefully, if Kachi feels up to it, maybe we'll have some Kachi time between 4 to 6 p.m. on Sunday. Okay, well, very well. Everybody, thank you so much for showing up today. It's always fun to do a Baby Zombie Rush stream. I will see you again next time. We are raiding out to Skip now. Bye for now, everyone.